Look at these 8 signs and you'll know how long you'll live after 70. Aging is a journey, one that comes with wisdom, reflection, and if we take care of ourselves, the possibility of many fulfilling years ahead. Have you ever wondered, how long will I live after 70? The answer isn't found in just genetics, it's in how you live each day. Science has revealed 8 key signs that provide clues about longevity. These aren't vague theories, they're based on research, real life case studies, and the experiences of long lived individuals. But the best part? You have control over each of these signs. By the time you finish reading, you won't just recognize these signs, you'll know how to take action to improve them. Because longevity isn't just about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. 1. How you handle change and loss. Aging brings inevitable changes, some expected, others sudden and heartbreaking. The way we navigate these changes shapes not just our emotional well-being, but our physical health and longevity. Loss is one of the hardest realities of growing older. The passing of loved ones, the transition from a busy career to retirement, or even the gradual shifts in our own bodies. These changes can leave us feeling unmoored, as if life is shrinking rather than expanding. But here's a truth many don't realize. How we respond to these moments can determine how many more years we live, and more importantly, how well we live them. Studies show that resilience, the ability to adapt, find meaning, and continue forward, is a significant predictor of longevity. A research team at the University of California found that seniors who embraced change with openness and purpose lived longer and reported higher life satisfaction than those who resisted or became isolated. It's not about avoiding grief or ignoring challenges, it's about how we process them and what we do next. Take, for example, Richard, a retired professor who lost his wife of 52 years. The first months after her passing were unbearably lonely. He withdrew from friends, neglected his health, and questioned his purpose. But one day, he made a choice, not to move on, but to move forward. He joined a community writing class where he found solace in sharing his stories. He reconnected with old friends, even if it felt difficult at first. He started small but kept going, and with time, life felt fuller again. The way we handle loss isn't about forgetting or replacing what was lost. It's about integrating those experiences into who we are and continuing to live with intention. One of the most powerful things you can do after a major life change is to create a new routine. Structure provides stability when everything else feels uncertain. Volunteering, learning something new, or even just making a point to have conversations with others can help rebuild a sense of connection. Change is inevitable, but suffering in isolation doesn't have to be. The key is to allow yourself to grieve while also opening yourself to new possibilities. Life doesn't end with loss, it reshapes itself. And those who can embrace this truth, even in difficult moments, often find themselves living not just longer, but better. 2. Your body's recovery time after illness or injury. There was a time when a simple cold would come and go without much thought. A scraped knee or a bruised elbow would heal in days, barely noticed. But as the years pass, recovery becomes something we can no longer take for granted. The speed at which our bodies bounce back from illness, infection, or injury is more than just an inconvenience. It is a reflection of our deeper health. Recovery time tells us how resilient our immune system is, how well our body fights inflammation, and how strong our organs remain as they age. Scientists at Johns Hopkins University have found that seniors who recover slowly from even minor illnesses are at a higher risk for chronic conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and frailty syndrome. It's not just about how long a cough lingers or how fast a cut heals. It's about what these slow recoveries signify beneath the surface. Imagine two men in their 70s, both catching the same flu. One recovers within a week, his energy restored quickly, his body responding as it should. The other, however, finds himself struggling for weeks. His appetite fades, his strength diminishes, and before long, a minor illness turns into something more serious. This difference isn't just luck or genetics, it's years of accumulated habits, how they've eaten, moved, rested, and cared for their bodies over time. Recovery isn't just about medicine, it's about prevention. The foods we eat can speed up or slow down healing. A body nourished with leafy greens, omega 3 rich fish, and antioxidant packed berries will fight inflammation more efficiently than one fueled by processed foods. Hydration is another hidden key. Even mild dehydration slows down circulation, making it harder for wounds to heal and infections to clear. And sleep, often overlooked, is when the body does its deepest repair work. Skimping on rest is like refusing to let your body do its nightly maintenance. But perhaps the most overlooked factor in healing is movement. Many people assume rest means inactivity, but studies show that gentle movement, like stretching, walking, or deep breathing, stimulates circulation, helping the body heal faster. A person who remains active, even in small ways, recovers more quickly than one who remains sedentary. Your body is speaking to you every time you heal, telling you how strong or vulnerable you truly are. Pay attention to the message because the time it takes to recover today may determine the strength of the years ahead. 3. Your ability to maintain curiosity and keep learning. Curiosity is often thought of as something for the young, the wide-eyed wonder of a child exploring the world for the first time. But the truth is, curiosity is just as essential, if not more, in later years. It is the fire that keeps the mind sharp, the spirit engaged, and life full of possibility. The moment we stop being curious, we begin to shrink, not just in what we know, but in how we experience the world. There is a well-known study from Yale University that tracked older adults over time and found that those who actively engaged in learning, whether through reading, trying new skills, or even simply asking more questions, had a significantly lower risk of cognitive decline. The brain, much like a muscle, weakens when left idle. The people who retain their sharpness, their humor, and their sense of wonder are not necessarily the luckiest or the most genetically gifted. They are the ones who never stop exploring. I once met a woman in her 80s who had just started learning Italian. When I asked her why, she laughed and said, "Because I wanted to know what the waiters were saying when I went to my favorite restaurant." That curiosity, that small spark of interest led her to something larger, meeting new people, engaging her memory, challenging herself. It was never about becoming fluent. It was about keeping her mind awake and alive. Learning doesn't have to mean going back to school or mastering a complex subject. It can be as simple as picking up a book on a topic you've never explored, watching a documentary that challenges your perspective, or sitting down with someone younger and asking them about their experiences. It can be gardening, woodworking, storytelling, or even learning how to use new technology. The content doesn't matter. The process does. Many people fear aging because they believe it means a narrowing of possibilities. But curiosity fights against that. It says, there is still more to know, more to see, more to experience. The longest-lived people in the world have one thing in common. They never assume they have learned everything. They wake up each day with a sense of anticipation, with a willingness to be surprised, to grow. Curiosity is not just a habit, it is a promise to yourself that you are still very much alive. 4. Your relationship with food. Food is more than just fuel for the body. It is a reflection of how we care for ourselves, how we connect with others, and even how we experience joy. Over the years, eating can become routine, something done out of habit rather than intention. But when we stop paying attention to what we eat, we also stop paying attention to what our bodies need. The way you approach food in your later years can be one of the strongest indicators of how long and how well you will live. There is a stark difference between eating to sustain and eating to thrive. Studies from the National Institute on Aging have shown that diets rich in whole nutrient-dense foods significantly reduce the risk of heart disease, cognitive decline, and inflammation, all major contributors to premature aging. But beyond the science, food also plays a psychological and emotional role in longevity. The act of preparing a meal, sitting down to enjoy it, and sharing it with others creates a rhythm to life, a ritual that nourishes more than just the body. I once knew a man who, after losing his wife, found himself eating alone most nights, often relying on frozen meals or skipping dinner altogether. Over time, his health declined, not just physically but emotionally. He lacked energy, his digestion worsened, and even his mood darkened. Then one day, a neighbor invited him to a weekly potluck where everyone brought a homemade dish. It was a small change, but it reintroduced him to the importance of food as an experience. He started cooking again, taking pride in his meals, experimenting with flavors, and most importantly, eating with others. His health improved, but so did his spirit. Food is one of the few things we do every single day. It is an opportunity, a choice we make not just for survival, but for quality of life. Eating mindfully, savoring each bite, and filling our plates with foods that truly nourish us is an act of self-respect. Avoiding excess sugar, processed ingredients, and mindless snacking isn't about restriction. It's about valuing the body that has carried you through life. In many of the longest-lived communities in the world, food is not just about nutrients. It is about connection, gratitude, and tradition. The way we eat shapes the way we live, and the choices we make at the table today will determine the strength, vitality, and longevity we experience in the years to come. 5. Your willingness to move every single day. Movement is life. From the moment we take our first steps as children, to the way we stretch our arms in the morning, to the simple act of rising from a chair, our bodies were made to move. Yet, as the years go by, movement can become something we avoid rather than embrace. Aches and stiffness settle in, and it becomes easier to stay seated, to take the shorter route, to let the body slow down. But here is a truth that too many people learn too late. The less you move, the faster you age. Longevity studies from Harvard and the Mayo Clinic have found that daily movement, not just structured exercise, but simple, everyday activity, adds years to life and life to years. It is not about running marathons or lifting heavy weights. It is about keeping the body engaged in the rhythms of living. Walking to the mailbox instead of driving, standing while talking on the phone, stretching before bed, all of these moments add up. Movement keeps the heart strong, the joints flexible, the mind sharp. And just as important, it maintains independence. I once met a woman in her late 70s who made it a habit to dance in her kitchen while cooking. She laughed as she told me, "I may not move like I used to, but I still move." It was a small, joyful thing, yet it kept her body engaged, her muscles active, her spirit young. Too often people assume that slowing down is just a part of aging, that stiffness and weakness are inevitable. But the reality is, stopping movement is what accelerates decline. One of the greatest mistakes older adults make is thinking that exercise means discomfort, that it has to be strenuous to be effective. But movement can be gentle. A morning stretch, a short walk, gardening, tai chi. These things are not just exercise, they are signals to the body that it is still needed, still capable. Every day, you have a choice. You can either let your body settle into stillness, or you can remind it that you are still here, still living, still moving. No matter how small the effort, the most important thing is to begin, because the longer you keep moving, the longer life moves with you. 6. How often you laugh and experience joy. Laughter is more than just a fleeting moment of happiness. It is a reflection of how we engage with life. It is easy to think of laughter as something reserved for youth, something spontaneous and carefree. But in reality, joy is a choice, a habit that can be cultivated at any age. The way we welcome humor, embrace lightness, and allow ourselves to experience joy is a powerful indicator of how well we will live and for how long. Medical research has repeatedly shown that laughter reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, boosts immune function, and even alleviates pain. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that people who laugh often tend to live longer, not just because of the physiological benefits, but because a joyful outlook protects against loneliness, depression, and the slow erosion of spirit that can come with aging. The body responds to joy. Endorphins are released. Circulation improves. Tension melts away. Laughter, in its simplest form, is medicine. But joy is not just something that happens to us. It is something we must actively seek. Life will always present challenges. There will be losses, disappointments, and days of struggle. Yet, even in grief, humor has a place. It does not diminish pain. Rather, it reminds us that even in difficult moments, life still holds beauty. Some of the longest-lived individuals in the world share a common trait. They do not take themselves too seriously. They find humor in the ordinary. They laugh at their own mistakes. They stay playful in spirit. I once met an elderly man who made it a rule to laugh at least once every morning. He said it was his way of setting the tone for the day. Whether it was reading a funny story, watching a comedy, or simply sharing a joke with a friend, he believed that laughter was just as necessary as food and exercise. And he was right. Aging does not mean losing our ability to laugh. If anything, it means we have more reasons to do so. We have stories to tell, memories to share, and the wisdom to know that most worries fade with time. If you want to live longer, don't just focus on diet and exercise. Find things that make you smile. Surround yourself with people who make you laugh. Because every moment spent in joy is a moment added to life. 7. The strength of your social bonds. Aging is often portrayed as a gradual retreat, a slow withdrawal from the busyness of life, from careers, from responsibilities, from large gatherings. But the truth is, the way we stay connected to others as we grow older has a profound impact on how long we live and how well we age. Social bonds are not just pleasant additions to life, they are lifelines. Studies from Brigham Young University have shown that strong social connections can extend life expectancy by as much as 50%, making loneliness as dangerous as smoking or obesity. The body and mind are deeply intertwined with our relationships. When we engage with others through conversation, laughter, shared meals, our stress levels decrease, our immune system strengthens, and our risk of cognitive decline drops significantly. Isolation, on the other hand, can quietly erode health. It increases inflammation, weakens the heart, and accelerates memory loss. Yet, maintaining relationships in later years is not always easy. Friends move away, loved ones pass on, and family members become busy with their own lives. Many older adults find themselves drifting into solitude, not by choice, but by circumstance. The key is not to wait for connection to come to you, but to seek it out. I once knew a man who, after retiring, felt his world becoming smaller. The routine of work had kept him surrounded by people, but suddenly the days felt long and empty. Instead of resigning himself to loneliness, he made a deliberate choice. He joined a local community group, he reached out to old friends, he even started hosting Sunday dinners for his neighbors. Slowly, his world expanded again. The act of staying connected gave him purpose, energy, and a renewed sense of belonging. Social bonds do not have to be grand. A simple phone call, a shared cup of coffee, a weekly game night, these small moments create a network of warmth and stability. Humans are not meant to live in isolation. We thrive in community, in shared laughter, in meaningful conversations. If you want to live longer, don't just focus on keeping your body healthy. Keep your relationships alive, because at the end of life, it is not wealth or achievements that bring the most joy. It is the people we have loved and the connections we have nurtured. 8. Your sense of purpose. A long life is not just measured in years, but in meaning. Many people spend their younger years focused on goals, building a career, raising a family, achieving milestones. But as life changes, as careers end and children grow, an unsettling question can emerge. What now? The way we answer that question, the way we shape our sense of purpose in later years, can determine not just how long we live, but how fulfilling those years will be. Research from the blue zones, regions of the world where people live the longest, shows that a strong sense of purpose can add up to 7 years to life expectancy. The Japanese call it ikigai, a reason to wake up in the morning. It is not about productivity in the traditional sense. It is about feeling that your life still holds value, that you are still needed, still contributing, still learning. Without this, days can blur together and even good health can feel empty. I once met a woman in her 80s who spent her mornings tending to a community garden. She had no obligation to do so, yet she showed up every day, watering plants, pulling weeds, chatting with neighbors. When I asked her why, she smiled and said, "Because things still depend on me." That was her purpose, not grand, not complicated, but deeply meaningful. It gave her a rhythm to her days, a reason to move, to connect, to keep looking forward. Purpose is not about achievements, it is about engagement. Some find it in helping others, volunteering, mentoring, sharing wisdom with younger generations. Others find it in creativity, writing, painting, music, storytelling. Some find it in faith, in caring for family, in learning something new. What matters is that it makes you feel alive, that it gives you a reason to look forward to tomorrow. Too often, people believe that aging means stepping into the background, becoming invisible. But the truth is, life can be just as meaningful at 70, 80, or beyond as it was at 30. The body may slow, but the spirit does not have to. If you want to live longer, don't just count the days. Fill them. Wake up each morning knowing that your presence still matters. Because when you have purpose, you don't just exist, you thrive. Final thought: your future is in your hands. Aging is not a countdown, it is a continuation. Too many people see their later years as something to endure rather than something to embrace. But the truth is, longevity is not just about genetics or luck, it is about choices. Every day, in the small habits we build, in the way we care for our bodies, in the relationships we nurture, and in the perspective we choose, we are shaping the years ahead. The signs of longevity are not secrets locked away in scientific studies. They are written in the way we walk, in how quickly we recover from illness, in our curiosity, in the food we eat, in how often we move, in the joy we welcome, in the relationships we sustain, and in the sense of purpose we cultivate. These are not distant ideals. They are actions within reach, steps we can take no matter our age or circumstance. Imagine two people entering their 70s. One sees it as the beginning of decline. They move less, they stop seeking out new experiences, they eat whatever is easiest, and they assume that aches, fatigue, and forgetfulness are just part of the process. The other person, the same age, decides that aging is not about losing, but about adapting. They walk every day, even if it is slow at first. They learn something new no matter how small. They stay engaged, stay social, stay interested. They treat their meals as nourishment rather than convenience. The difference between these two people is not fate, it is choice. The body is resilient, even in later years. It responds to the care we give it. Muscles strengthen when used. The heart grows stronger with movement. The mind sharpens with challenge. Joy becomes easier when we let ourselves experience it. Connections deepen when we invest in them. And purpose flourishes when we give ourselves a reason to wake up each morning. I once spoke with a 94-year-old man who still worked part time, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. When I asked him what the secret was to a long and happy life, he didn't talk about medicine or wealth or perfect health. He simply said, keep moving, keep learning, keep laughing, keep loving, and never, never let yourself become a spectator in your own life. This is the lesson of longevity. We do not have to passively accept aging. We can shape it, direct it, and most importantly, live it fully. The years ahead are not just something to wait for, they are something to create. Whatever your age, whatever your circumstances, you are not just growing older, you are still growing. And that is the most powerful choice of all. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.